This is the EVP Podcast.
You heard it right, guys. It is the EVP Podcast with your hosts. I'm Ghosty
and Beaker.
Welcome back, everybody. How have you been? You been having ghosty stuff happening?
Tonight,
Yeah, I know. I want to hear more about it later, but yeah, you got some cool shit going on.
doing a residential investigation later tonight after we're done recording.
I'm a little jelly. Little jelly.
I know. You've been looking a little soft in the midsection.
Yeah, I am jelly for sure.
You're like a jar. I'm a bowl of jelly. We're fat.
Yeah, show are. So today we are going to talk about giants.
We're talking about me?
That's so your nice lineage. Your lineage.
Thank you.
We'll end the show on your lineage. But yeah, giants. You've heard of giants and the way they could possibly be reality. Like you've heard stories about bones being sent to the Smithsonian, maybe, or stories of bones being found.
I've heard no such things.
Never. Perfect. And this is the show for you.
I've heard of Goliath.
Yeah, he's actually a lineage
from the Bible.
There is some biblical stuff when it comes to giants. Yes, there are.
I mean, you've seen him in movies and stuff. Hagrid's a half giant in Harry Potter, and then he's got his brother Gwop.
Do they have him in the movies?
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing him at all.
It's the fifth one, Order of the Phoenix. They have Gwop, and he kidnaps Dolores Umbridge and takes her into the Forbidden Forest.
Son of a bee. Maybe I missed that one.
I don't know. It's just a huge part of the movie. And by huge, I mean he's a giant.
Yeah.
Because he has the little bicycle, and he goes, ding.
Shit, I don't remember that. Maybe I didn't watch that one.
Harry Potter 5, Order of the Phoenix.
Okay, there might be one or two movies I didn't see that I don't realize.
Well, there's 8 movies, so it's possible.
Right? There's a whole damn
Clearly,
collection.
You're not a fan of Harry Potter.
I'm a fan, but not like...
Not a fan like me. I have 3 wands.
See, I'm not... I know what wand I... Well, I did the test to see what wand I should have, but I haven't gone and bought it or anything.
But if you go to Universal Studios in either California or Florida, you can do the whole Ollivander experience, or you can just go to one of the gift shops that sells wands. The Ollivander experience is kind of cool. They usually pick a kid and give them a free wand.
I want to be that kid.
I know you do.
Okay, I'm going there, and I'm going to do the experience.
Well, I've got 3 weeks off. Let's go to Universal Studios.
Okay, I want the experience.
Let's do it.
But the tallest known human that we know of, that is what was his damn name? It was Robert Wadlow, and he ended up before he died, he was 8 feet 11 inches.
So this is the guy that's from like the 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, a long time ago.
I remember back in the day, I took a solo trip to the San Diego.
The whale's vagina.
The San Diego. And I was looking for stuff to do, and I found a Ripley's Believe It or Not exhibit. And they had a animatronic of this gentleman.
At actual height?
Yes.
Damn.
So they had him sitting down in a chair, because he did that a lot. This dude had most modern day giants, it's some sort of
multiple medical conditions,
and so they have a lot of medical problems. And so this guy actually needed a cane to stand up and walk in, and this animatronic, would be sitting down in a chair, and then they would have it stand up. I'm 6'5", and I barely went up to
this huge bitch.
Yes, I barely went to this thing's hip. This animatronic, this model of this dude. So they made it to scale. And yeah, I went up to this dude's waist.
That's intimidating, huh?
Right. Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, actual living person, tallest that I've seen was Greg Ostertag, former center for the Utah Jazz. It's 7'2". I've met a guy that used to work at the barbershop I used to go to. He was 7'1", and it's not very often I meet someone taller than me, and it makes me feel small. It's weird. But, I mean, 8 feet, 11 inches, almost 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Right?
Huge.
Yeah, he's barely underneath a basketball hoop. Standing there. That's pretty fucking crazy. But there were actual giants that we do know of, though. There was the Gigantopithecus. Or, for short, they call it G. Blackie. Mm-hmm. But He lived like it's a person.
It was one of them.
They lived during the
an entire
I don't
race
even
of
know-
giants of one.
Do you even know how to say this time? Pleistocene epoch?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever it was, they lived a long time ago.
It's your turn to mispronounce words.
But back then, there was a bunch of megafauna, not just them, but everything around them were huge. So you can imagine if you go to like the redwoods of California and Oregon, those trees being so big, it's just like a matter of the way the environment is and everything there. But so everything back then was huge. Like Texas, so they talk about all the bugs are the biggest there, probably same.
Oh, all the bugs and the animals are huge in Australia, and everything there wants to kill you.
See, they probably haven't evolved that much. We've become more civilized before they were.
Right.
Sure. I don't understand time.
Our insects and animals have become more civilized than the ones in Australia.
Exactly.
Got it.
Our timeline. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But they're known to stand 10 feet tall. They were 10 feet tall, and that's on the regular. And that was just a few 100,000 years ago. So not too long ago. But
oh, no, not at all.
I mean, no, when it comes to as long as the world's been turning.
Billions of years.
Exactly. So the
possibility
of the human race and these Gigantopithecus of living, coinciding, very possible. Very, very possible. What do you think?
Sure.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Yep. That's what I'm here for.
And what they were around the area of like Southeast Asia, China, Thailand, Vietnam, and
well, how long has the caveman supposedly lived? How long ago was that? I mean,
also around close to that time too.
So it's entirely possible.
Yeah, very possible. But they say
giants were roaming the earth at the same time as the modern Homo erectus or Homo sapiens or whatever.
But how long ago was Yeah. So the world kind of still looks the way it does now when it comes to the tectonic plates moving and
you got the whole
and everything.
Yeah,
so,
Pangea, that's what I was about to say. Pangea. For those of you that don't know what Pangea is, it's when all of the continents that we currently have
combined.
They were not separated. The Atlantic Ocean kind of wasn't a thing.
There was one ocean and one land mass.
Yep.
And everything went
slowly over time. Everything is drifted apart.
So as that happened, but a few 100,000 years ago, everything probably looked as it did now.
Probably. And minus the concrete jungles.
Exactly. But the closest thing that look like these things that we talk about now are like the Bigfoot and Sasquatch.
I've said that before.
Gigantopithecus.
Because there was rumors of like the giants that roamed like the Appalachian Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And I had read somewhere at some point in time that this Smithsonian actually had like artifacts, like tools and like armor and stuff that had been found. And when I was looking and doing the research for this, I couldn't find any of that information again.
So I'll send you a link right now.
Okay.
And that'll have what you're looking for, sir.
I did find some stuff about this Smithsonian. Mm-hmm. I'm not even reading. I just can't even pronounce it. There's been a lot of articles that have been popping up as recent as like 2007, 2008, claiming that the Smithsonian was involved in Smithsonian. That building in New York, Washington, D.C., wherever it's
D.C.
That building in Washington, D.C. that houses artifacts. The museum. It belongs in a museum.
New York, D.C.
Yes, New York, D.C. area. They're nowhere near each other, but having these artifacts. But there's the rumors that they were involved in a cover-up, saying in the early 1900s they destroyed like giant skeletons that they had. But then this has been proved false.
So they have talked about that, yes, and everything they talk about when it comes to that, and we'll actually go across why those were false in some of these stories.
Okay.
The Nephilim. Have you heard of the Nephilim?
In video games and fantasy novels.
So I think that comes from like the Jewish, the Hebrew, or actually, yeah. Anyways, it comes down from a bunch of, besides Christianity too. Besides being in the Bibles and the Hebrew what was their book called? I don't know. I don't know that much about religions. Anyways.
Oh, well, sure did a lot of good research on this.
But it was mentioned in the Bible. And you want to read this part?
No.
The Nephilim?
Nope.
You should, though.
Okay, so the first mention of the Nephilim is found in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. So for those of you that aren't in religion, get into it right now.
Get into it. This is how it's going to happen.
I'm reading you Bible quotes. Now it says, "Now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants on this earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. They were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown." The word Nephilim also appears a second time in the Old Testament in Numbers 13:33. There we saw the giants, the descendant of the Anak came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and we were so we were in their sight. So
tiny, guys.
Tiny.
So the Anunnaki that you're talking about is the Anunnaki, and those were these giant godlike creatures, and they bred with, like they talked about, with humans, but there's no physical evidence. There was nothing that was ever found to show that they were true besides ancient Sumerian writings, then later into the Hebrew, and then into Christianity. But they talk about it, but nothing was ever found. Like they talk about Goliath and everything, and that he was a descendant of this as well, because it branches down because they bred with humans, and then they had their own lineage. There's all these crazy stories.
Well, Goliath was supposed to have been like, 8-9 feet tall, somewhere in there?
Yeah, but then there's other stories where he's 18, 22 feet tall. And there's the reasons why that they thought that, also going to be later brought up in the other parts of the world. But but yeah, there was no physical evidence ever found besides just ancient writings about these. But later on, there are these other writings that talk about things where things were actually found. So there's like the Greek giants. And the ancient Greeks told stories of the giants, describing them as flesh and blood creatures who lived and died, and whose bones could be found coming out of the ground where they were buried long ago. And indeed, even today, large and surprisingly human-like bones can be found in Greece. But do you know what those are?
Dinosaurs.
No. They're not dinosaurs. They're mammals, but they're woolly mammoth-like creatures. A woolly mammoth and like a rhinoceros-like creatures. And because what happens is when those things start coming out of the ground, some of the other parts of the body, the other bones have decayed away or fell apart, but the big ones are still left, like the ribs and the femurs, and those look like human bones. So
Nice.
Long time ago, when these are coming out, like they don't know that these things ever existed. So in those areas of Greece a long time ago, there used to be woolly mammoths and rhinoceros type creatures. And geological events that usually would happen, they would end up bringing that stuff up to the surface. And so they start finally seeing these, and boom, that's how they end up finding, realizing that, back then, not knowing that, they thought those damn things were giants. Have you seen the Morocco giant one?
No.
Well, there's people of Tingis. Right now, it's called Tangier now, but they talked about their city's founder was once a giant named Antaeus or something like that. But he was buried in a mound south of the town. And a long time ago back then, these Romans who were there, they wanted to test this out. So they actually, and this was 81 BC, so this was a couple thousand years ago, they end up digging up and finding these giant bones in this mound. And they're like, oh shit, you're right. This really was founded by a giant. And they reburied it with great honors. And, hundreds, thousands years later, they find out, science and everything. We found out there used to be these rhinoceros or woolly mammoth-like creatures. So, they confirmed that a long time ago, ancient elephant fossils are common in that area. But, it's kind of cool. I bet you, growing up back then, thinking that your city was founded by a giant, that would have been really cool.
Probably. And then science had to ruin
science ruins all the fun stuff.
How dare they?
Ireland. There's a giant in Ireland. The spectacular Giant's Causeway on the northeast coast of Ireland consists of about 40,000 interlocking columns of basalt rock. According to Irish myth, the Irish giant Finn McCool, which is also a damn cool name. Finn McCool.
Hey, his name is Finn McCool.
I like it a lot. So they say that he built the causeway so he could walk to Scotland to fight the Scottish giant Benandonner. I don't know how to say it. The formations like this one are typically the result of volcanic activity. About 65 million years ago, lava flowed over that area, and as the lava cooled, it contracted, fracturing it into columns. So it looks like somebody probably stacked it, like they carried it and placed it in a way to make a bridge. But in actuality, it was just lava. Stupid science. Ruined everything.
I know. Science proving that fantasy isn't real. How dare they?
Tell us about the old Cyclops, sir.
They have eyes.
Where?
On their head.
Prove it. Prove it.
Prove it? Well, there's no proof. So... we don't know. There's no pictures. Cameras weren't around back then.
Sons of bees.
If only cameras were around, we would have physical evidence.
Tell me about it.
Of the Cyclops. So it's funny because I haven't read the notes yet, but I was about to say, like, the first mention that I can recall in Greek history of the Cyclops was during the Odyssey.
Which was
Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey. The Iliad is based on the Trojan War.
Yeah.
The Odyssey. So I love Greek mythology. This is like my favorite. So, one of my favorite things to study.
So, are you glad I put this in here? Then
I am.
You're welcome, sir.
So, the Odyssey is about the travels of Odysseus after the Trojan War, and at one point in time, they do come across this island where there was a giant Cyclops on there. Cyclops. They call them Cyclops because they have one optical nerve or one eye in the middle of their forehead. So, on his way home from the Trojan War, the brave adventurer Odysseus and his crew landed on the island of Sicily. Happy to find food in the cave, they gorged themselves until the cave's occupant, a ferocious Cyclops named Polyphemus, returned home and began to eat the men one by one.
Ooh.
Polyphemus soon asked Odysseus his name and replied, "My name is Nobody." That evening, Odysseus and the men planned their escape. First, they drove a stake into Polyphemus's one eye. Screaming in pain, he called to his brother Cyclops, "Help, nobody is hurting me." Confused, they ignored the cries, and Polyphemus lost his only eye. In the morning, Polyphemus let his sheep out to gaze after feeling along the animals' backs to make sure the men weren't riding on top of them. But Odysseus and his crew had tied themselves under the sheep's bellies, so they slipped by unnoticed by the blinded Cyclops.
Smart moves, Trojans.
They were the Trojans.
Oh. Who were they?
They were the Greeks.
Smart move, Greeks.
See, so in the Iliad, Paris stole Helen from the reason we call it Helen.
I remember seeing the movie.
Well, yeah, the movie's based on the Iliad.
Uh-huh.
So the Trojans were there, or the people from the city of Troy, or the Trojans were there in Greece. I want to say it was Sparta, but I don't know if that was accurate or not. But basically they didn't kidnap, but Helen went with Paris and Hector back to Troy, and Agamemnon and his brother, I can't remember the other guy's name.
Said war.
They're like, "Yep, you stole my wife. Let's go get him."
Yeah.
And that's where we get...
I don't care. She don't want me. She's mine.
That's where we get Achilles and Achilles' heel. That's a whole cool story as well. But after the Trojan War, this is Odysseus. Odysseus was one of the Greeks that went to war with Agamemnon and his people to get Helen back from from Troy. So, like I said, the Odysseus' adventures after the Trojan War, him trying to get back to Greece, is where he meets the Cyclops.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of a cool story.
It is a really cool story.
I'm fascinated with Greek mythology. I like all of this stuff.
So they said that these one-eyed giants have come from the island of Sicily. Like that whole area is where they said that these giants, Cyclops, came from. But actually, come to find out, that area had been known to have a shit ton of woolly mammoths. So makes sense that they had found skulls, and we're like, oh shit, those are some giants, one-eyed motherfuckers over there. So yeah, the story came about the Cyclops having one eye because of the trunk of the woolly mammoth has that one big hole where their trunk goes. So that looks like an eye socket.
Yes.
So them not knowing science and stuff, how things work, totally makes sense. I get it. And that would have been really cool growing up, knowing that there were some crazy ass one-eyed monsters on that island. So you don't never go there.
Or do you? Because you want to get eaten by the giants.
You want to go tell some stories.
Yeah.
I got some stories to tell.
I want to touch it.
I'm going to go check this shit out.
Odysseus did it, so can I.
The last set of giants we will mention are of your heritage, sir.
Oh, the redheaded giants.
The redheaded ginger giants. You got it, buddy.
Giants of Nevada.
Yeah, Lovelock Cave. Remember we talked about that? Well, we'll talk about it some more.
Yeah, we didn't go there.
We didn't, because F that walk, man.
It was lazy.
It's cold, and there's a long walk. No, thank you.
It was raining.
That's right. There's a lot of factors on why we didn't
feel like walking for a half an hour in the rain.
Nope. So in 1911, miners were digging for fertilizer in the Lovelock Cave. They ended up unearthing these weird artifacts. So this led to the official excavation in 1912 and 1924, which uncovered thousands of artifacts and remains of individuals which were nicknamed the Lovelock Giants. They were measured at an astonishing 8 to 10 feet tall, according to this news outlet. Because of they did find a couple bodies of like 9 foot and 7.5 foot people. They also found a 15-inch long sandal showing signs of wear and a boulder with a seemingly giant handprint etched into it. A 1931 local newspaper article reported the discovery of 2 more giant skeletons around 8.5 and 10 feet tall. Okay, yeah, I was close. They were in a nearby dry lake bed, and these remains were even described as being mummified in a similar way to those of the ancient Egyptians. Intriguingly, the Paiute tribe inhabiting the region for millennia possesses a legend of cannibalistic red-haired giants called the Sitika. These giants, according to the legend, arrived by sea and dominated the area due to their superior size and strength. What happened, though, is, as you know, we've talked about this part, where the Paiutes ended up joining forces with other tribes because they were being bullied by these giants.
Yeah, I gotta get the giants, guys.
Because the giants, they were known as what their name is, the Tule Eaters, which are the tules are the reeds that grow out of the water beds, and they were known to eat that, but they were also eating tribe members whenever they would go to war with them and they would take prisoners. They'd end up eating them. Sounds like they would just go to war to take prisoners, like they just needed some meat.
It's called hunting.
So the tribes were sick of it, and they're like, we had enough of your shit, you ginger giant bitch. And they joined forces.
Exactly how they said it.
Drove them into the cave, and once they were into the cave, they set that bitch on fire and burned them, what was left of them, alive, because that were the last of them. And they drove them into the cave, burned that bitch down. And
twice.
What they found out later with science and everything, that they found remnants of where that fire has been there, that did like a long hot burn, like it's etched into the damn rocks.
The damn rocks.
The damn rocks.
I didn't know they had a dam there.
They got the damn rocks. But they were trapped in there and they burned alive, you know? That's what happens to giants that be eating people.
Or they're just a fire broke out in there for
in the cave.
In the cave.
That burned for a long time.
Miners.
No, this was a long time ago. Like you can tell that it happened a long time ago, not recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, science and everything.
Science. Lightning.
It's science.
Maybe lightning struck inside the cave. deep inside the cave.
Yeah, they found significant burning near the cave entrance during the initial excavations.
Near the cave entrance. Could have been lightning that lit something on fire.
Could have been.
Could have been a lightning strike.
Definitely could have been.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I do too. Or it could have been a race of giants that were alive.
But I also like the idea of giants.
Obviously.
But these could have been like the last of the living, what are those things that we call the Gigantopithecus?
Yeah.
So they could have actually been the last of the Gigantopithecus.
And they burned them alive.
They burned them alive because they were cannibalizing their asses.
That's fine.
But, I mean, the thought of that being a reality is kind of cool. But also the Bigfoot that we talk about.
An entire race being burnt alive is cool.
The thought of the giants, the giants that were living.
Dying in a fire is really cool.
It's not cool. But that the reality of giants that were being there is pretty cool. And you think, okay, Nevada doesn't have like tall trees and things for these giants to hide in it or anything, but
they do in California though.
They damn do. Yeah, they damn do. They better damn do.
Today's word of the day is damn.
Damn, goddamn, damn. Also, that video. Did you ever watch that video I talked about with that? It looks like a Sasquatch that drops down.
No.
So that's what makes me think that they could definitely, hide around there in Nevada in the damn desert.
The damn desert.
But what you were talking about before with the Smithsonian skeletons that disappeared and all that.
Supposedly.
Come to find out, these giant skeletons were debunked. And the curator of anthropology at the Smithsonian, they opposed the popular myth that an ancient white race were the mound builders because of the bones that were brought and everything. They were all fake. It was all hoaxes.
See, and I remember reading not just about bones, but there being like helmets and spears and armor and stuff like that were made for giants. Like there was a race of giants that lived in the Appalachian Mountains at one point in time that they found artifacts to suggest there were a race of giants that existed. And I've always said, like, this race of giants, maybe they didn't get extinct, maybe they just went to live in the woods, and that's what we call Sasquatch now. And this is something I've been saying for years, and then doing the research on this, and I can't find that same article. I remember reading something.
How long ago was it that you found out about that?
4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, so 2014, an internet story began circulating which claimed that the Smithsonian Institution had custody of giant skeletons, but they destroyed thousands of giant skeletons in the early 20th century. The internet story about the Smithsonian was debunked by Reuters and the Associated Press.
See, and maybe it's because I haven't looked into it recently until now. But I said, this
and the reason why you don't see anything now is because they were all pulled because it was already debunked.
See, like I said, originally it wasn't just skeletons that I was reading about. It was like armor and helmets.
Because what happens to rumors? They grow.
Yeah.
So, it started with the bones, and then it added some armor, then added some weapons. Snowballs, y'all. Snowballs.
Yep.
Them damn snowballs.
Saying the Smithsonian actually had these in their possession. Still is what some of the articles said at the time.
Yeah. But they were just going off rumors.
This was more recent, within like the last 2 or 3 years, that they've actually debunked all these things.
Somebody finally said, well, let's dig into this some more besides just
there was
talking all this
shit.
There was
a court order for the Smithsonian to open up their records.
And they're like, what are you guys talking about?
Right. The Smithsonian actually countersued.
Probably because they're like...
For defamation.
Like, what the hell are you guys even talking about?
Because they were saying they were saying the early 1900s is when these bones were destroyed, right?
Yeah.
But the earliest record of anything from the Smithsonian or possible giants, artifacts or bones or anything, the earliest recording of that is 1917, after the Smithsonian supposedly destroyed the evidence.
And what happened with those bones, because people were finding these giant bones for sure, but also because woolly mammoths, rhinoceros type creatures were roaming the grounds of those areas long time ago.
This is true.
So they found out that the skulls and other small bones will decay and fragment off and fall apart while the bigger bones stay there. So rib cage, femurs, look human. They think, holy shit, this is a damn giant. Damn.
Well, maybe I need to ask some mediums I know that see spirits, because I do know of at least one time where someone has seen the spirit of a dinosaur at a natural history museum. So now I want to start traveling with like different mediums that can actually see spirits and be like, hey, they're giants.
You see any giant? Let's go to these caves. I heard about these caves.
Yeah, let's go to these caves. Are there giants?
That would actually be really cool, because them burning alive, their spirits being trapped there. What?
I know. You know, I'll just show pictures of the Lovelock caves to some of these people.
Yes.
Hey,
yes, please.
Hey, are there giants in there?
Yeah, do you see any giants? Hey, what do you see? Tell me what you
Probably
see.
not.
What are they wearing?
Loincloths.
Are they orange? Oh, the other thing about the orange hair. They talk about these giants having orange hair, which could be due to decay. When it comes to proteins breaking down and darker hairs, so browns and blacks can actually turn reddish and orange due to the proteins breaking down.
So I have red in my beard due to lack of protein.
No, because you are alive, sir. I'm talking about my hair would turn looking like your hair, but only because my hair is darker. And
okay.
Yeah, see? Science!
I like it. Science!
Science! So their hair is most likely dark, blackish, brown, and as it's been dead, the proteins breaking down, it starts going reddish.
So we've talked about a lot of giants, but we haven't talked about the most famous giant.
Paul Bunyan?
Oh no, I guess this. I wasn't even thinking.
Did that throw you off?
Yeah,
you just.
I wasn't even thinking of Paul Bunyan and Babe, the giant blue ox.
That's good old U.S. mythology.
But an actual supposed giant. They build his height anywhere from 7'1" to 7'4", even up to 7'5".
Shaq.
No, he literally had the name the Giant in his name.
Andre
the Giant.
The true giant.
He was my favorite.
Yeah, he also had a lot of medical conditions, which helped him drink like a fish.
Well, the reason why he drank like a fish is it was to numb the pain.
Right.
He was in so much pain. It's like we mentioned at the top of the episode. A lot of modern day giants, if you will, people that are over certain heights, have a lot of medical conditions. I mean, there are some people now that are alive, like Paul White. He's a wrestler. You might have seen him in like Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was the tall Santa Claus in that fight.
I don't remember much of it,
but I don't know that. I mean, he has medical problems now. But Andre the Giant, he died in like his 30s, I believe, or 40s.
Right.
He was from France, but he did have a medical condition that caused him to grow the way he did, and he was just in constant pain all the time. So he would drink like 24 beers a day just to numb the pain.
Right, because their bodies physically are, growing, their internal organs can't handle that big of a mass.
Now, there's like something that causes them to
pituitary gland
to keep growing when they shouldn't.
Right, and so even though like when we max out growing in our puberty stages, they continue to grow. Yeah. So even like the guy that died, who was the tallest man in the world,
8'11" gentleman,
he died at 22 years old because of his medical conditions. So
yeah, it's unfortunate that they died.
So yeah, because our bodies aren't meant to handle that size. But it makes you wonder that the Gigantopithecus could have interbred with humans, with them taking them prisoners and everything.
So the genes are there, the genetics are there.
Mm-hmm. The genes are there, so much line bred. So I'm learning so much about genes too with these snakes. I know all kinds of things.
And pants.
Denim. I know so
denim.
much about
denim.
so
much about denim because of genes.
Because of snakes.
So, I mean, it is entirely possible, not to the extent of like some of the ancient mythology beliefs, like the Cyclops and whatnot, but it's entirely possible to think that there was at one point in time giants out there.
You're right. Well, we do know of one race, and so the possibility of them is actually true, but that they still live today. Do you think? Have you seen these videos of this guy seeing giants up in the mountains and closing giant rock walls to the entrance of a cave?
I've seen one of them recently.
So, and then this guy that saw that goes back and then ends up saying it's all fake after witnessing all this.
People flew drones to where they said this door to this giant
and it doesn't
house
exist
was.
anymore. So, what do you think about that?
About what?
Do you think it's true? Do you think it's bullshit?
About giants?
No, that cave.
That cave?
Yeah,
I think it was just someone looking for attention.
for views.
Yep.
To be talked about. God damn it, we're doing it. We're giving him what he wants.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Shit. Enough of that, man.
By just saying that a video exists, not giving any links or any way to get to
There's
it.
the Google machine.
Google machine.
But that's all I got today for Giants, Giant-wise.
Okay.
You got anything else on the Giants?
Yeah,
How are they doing this year?
they live in New York or
But
the San Francisco, depending on what sport you're following.
there's a lot of podcasts for the Giants team.
Which one? New York?
Both.
San Francisco?
Both, actually. Just Google, just when searching podcasts for Giants, there's quite a bit.
I mean, a lot of mythology, a lot of stuff does come from possible things that actually happened, like urban legends. Some of it's usually based in some truth.
Well, the biblical thing that they talk about quite a bit when it came to the Giants was that
That's
God
if you
was
believe that the Bible's
right.
true.
If you're following that, but they talk about that the flood, the great flood, was done by God to get rid of the Giants, or these gods that were getting rid of their mistakes. Like, I screwed up. Let's flood them out, kill them all, start over again.
all of two of the same animals.
Yeah, and two of all the same animals. You
in
guys,
harmony on a
yeah.
boat for.
I don't
4
care
to
how
5
far
days.
apart these animals live. They'll find you. They'll know you got room for them.
Everywhere in the world,
Everywhere in the world, there's
2 of every animal.
so science, man. They
Science.
didn't have none of that.
Birds, even
Yeah, they followed along.
ostriches and giraffes, lions,
But that was the whole
living
flood.
together.
The
Cats
whole
and
flood.
dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
But yeah, the Bible. I mean, who's really the bad guy in the Bible when you got like a 2 million head, death count, not even including this flood right now. But
I don't know. I don't want to get into it.
yeah, so
We're here to talk about facts.
yeah, so Giants, man.
Yeah.
What was I going with this? The flood.
know,
Yeah,
the
the flood
flood.
was supposed to. They talk about biblical, and not only that, but there was a flood. A flood actually did happen, and that
To rid
most
the world
likely,
of all the wicked.
they write about this was due to get rid of the giants and to kill them off, and pretty much all of mankind, because they were screwing up everywhere. They were intermingling. So to punish them, you're getting flooded out. You're all dying.
Giants are evil
And
That's why
some
they-
of those giants survived the flood, and that's what
because they can swim.
No, they found out, there's mountains and stuff. You go to the top and you'll survive this flood.
Because they were smart. They didn't need a boat.
But there was a flood. There was a
Maybe
flood
there
that
was
happened.
a door, but there was only enough room for one of them on there.
Oh, shit. If there was enough room.
I know.
to
Rose.
you just
Rose-
slid over just a little bit.
Rose and Jack found a door.
But
they found room enough for both of them.
yeah, they knew how to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the flood did happen. They talk about this flood and that, a lot in different writings, because there was a time when the ice was melting.
Yeah,
There was like
still
solar stuff was happening. They don't know exactly what caused it, but there could be a few things along with global warming of some kind, or the solar shit happened and caused, things to start melting, which things start melting, you start getting flooding. So a huge flood did happen, probably killed a ton of people. So it did get written about.
Probably where we're currently living used to be a lake.
Exactly. Well, it used to be the ocean.
Lake Bonneville.
It was the ocean and then a lake.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Bonneville.
Here we are living in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really all I got for Giants.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you got?
If you want to talk to us more about Giants, evp.pod at Instagram and Facebook. Or you can email us, evp.pod@gmail.com. And then after you're done, check out our link tree. Go to Ghost Stop affiliate link that we have and buy some ghost hunting gear and do the ghost hunting. Talk to the ghosts. We do.
Tell us about it.
Yes. Share your EVPs. Share your stories. Even if you share them just with us. We love reading your stories.
We will read them.
We will read them, but not on the air unless you want us to.
Yeah, let us know though.
Yeah, let us
Otherwise, I'll
know.
just
Yeah,
do it.
Put it. No, we won't. I'll ask. I always ask permission before I put anything on the air.
For sure.
we do have some EVPs that someone emailed us, and I talked to her this morning, and she's like, I really want your opinion on these. And she says, it's okay if we play them. So we need to actually listen to them.
All right.
It was a local investigator went to Benson Gristmill and got some EVPs. So
Interesting.
we need to listen to those, and we will probably play them next week.
All right. Well, let's do that, guys. Ghosty, don't play that.
Peace out, the butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.